Hi, everybody. Wait, there we go. I think that should be everybody unmuted.
Hello.
Hello.
Ah.
Ah.
Hello.
Hello.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah, I audio checked myself. Welcome, everyone, to the lovely game known as The Reign of Masters, a vampire 5th edition chronicle set in the world of Chicago by Night, in the world of darkness. These are all my buddies. And we've had a couple of special episodes and spooked them and scared them, and now we hope to continue that path. Um, and unless anybody has any quick little things to say before I start the intro video, um, I think it's time to finally get back into this final season of this chronicle.
Oh no.
And welcome
I just
back.
threw it.
Hello.
Did you say you just threw up? What did you say?
No,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't realize
just-
you were coming back. I was gonna say I just threw the link on my Blue Sky as well.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Um, to kind of get us back into where we were, because we were off last week, kind of a little mid-break in between the two special episodes that we had in the preparation time for this final season, because there was a lot that we were gonna get to and talk about and storylines to wrap up. My players here wanted to have a little more time. So, um, essentially, I believe where we're at is there have been people, powers in the world that have sought to drive wedges between relationships that have been made. There have been um, shady, shadowy figures reach out and um, try to sway the minds of some of the younger kindred here, as well as even the older. The place in which we left off, per se, um, was here with Mercy. On the last night, the previous special episode, the game ended with Mercy returning to her one of her havens, sort of one of her properties, and finding waiting for her um, a kindred by the name of Lucinde. Now, she mentioned that she was, in fact, the Justicar of Clan Ventrue, and that you, Mercy, were under formal investigation because of the actions taken by your prince, because of the actions witnessed throughout this city. And it was in this moment that we cut away. Now we return to have that conversation, to see what becomes of you in this
Right.
moment.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, Lucind has just expressed who she is, why she's here. Her demeanor is calm and not confrontational really in any way. She doesn't look ready to attack. She looks ready to discuss things and have a conversation more so than being a threatening presence in the room. But there is an air about this kindred that you've only seen a couple of times. With some of the kindred that you've interacted with in your relatively short unlife, you can tell just by the way that she carries herself, despite her appearance and her looking age. Um, you can tell she's probably pretty experienced, old, maybe older than Maggie. It's something in the way that she holds herself that it leaves very little doubt in your mind that this isn't one of those conversations where you can fuck around and be silly. You know what you have to step up your uh, presentation, so to speak.
Sure.
And she looks at you
That's
with a waiting gaze, waiting to see how you respond to this information in this situation.
Okay, so for just I know you kind of recapped this, but she did introduce herself properly, right? As
Yes,
name and title. Okay.
correct.
Um so then yes, she's just finished speaking and Mercy will say it's a pleasure to meet you. Um Forgive me, I am admittedly a bit surprised to find you here, but please be welcome. Um I think we should maybe sit and discuss if you don't mind.
She will, without taking her eyes away from you, she will gesture to the chairs that you have in this space and say, please, after you.
Yeah, there's no game to this for Mercy. She's just, I mean, there's a person in her space that she wasn't expecting, and she's kind of nervous about it. But will take her seat, and you know, there's no oh, I'm gonna sit behind the desk or anything. She sits in one of like the little cozy chairs. There's room for her to sit as close or as far away as she desires, and she'll wait for her to settle before continuing.
She immediately comes to rest in one of the chairs with a kind of like a laid back, not relaxed per se, but um, not overly anxious. She's very hard to get a formal read on. She's very good at keeping you wondering what her next move might be, in the sense that her body language doesn't give a lot away. Um, Another sign of experience in this situation. Um, but she sits and she looks at you and regards you, waiting for you to speak first.
I hope you'll forgive my lack of experience here, but I'm afraid I don't know what it means to be under investigation in this way. But I am happy to assist with whatever it is you're trying to find out. How can I help? I think is my question here, or perhaps what is it that you're trying to find out?
She takes a moment after you finish speaking to ensure that you're done. And she says, how you can help, Miss Grace, is to provide me with any information that you have on your prince, Magdalena Masters, and the reason that she has for her attempt to summon one of the inner circle to this city, um, in which it is believed by the inner circle member of the Ventru that this is likely going to be a trap and an attempt on her life.
I see.
If you have any information regarding this, it would be very wise to share it now because if it is found out later that you assisted in covering up your prince and the deeds which your prince is attempting to commit, there could be more wide-reaching repercussions.
Of course, no, I'm happy to share information. Um, you said that you are a Justicar of the Ventru. Is as I'm sure you're aware, there has been lots of turmoil in the city of late, and I hate to be rude, but is there? I wouldn't just give the prince's plans and secrets to anyone. Is there any way that you can confirm this for me, or I'm sure you understand. It's just, you know, I wouldn't want to reveal secrets to somebody who would put us in potential danger.
I understand. We don't carry cards, perhaps, if that's what you're inquiring about, but I think I might have the next best thing. There's a member of your coterie, a one Antonius Giovanni. I assume you have a number to contact him?
Yes.
Give him a call. Ask him about Lucinde. And see what he says.
Sure. She'll pull out her phone and ring ring Tony.
Ring, ring, ring.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't expect to be the one squirming this early. That's fun. That's extra fun. Tony will pick up the phone and say, "Hi, Mercy."
Good evening, Mr. Giovanni. I'm calling with a rather urgent matter I have to ask you about. Are you familiar with and she'll glance with some politeness at Lucinde and say a Miss Lucinde of the Ventru, perhaps?
If Lucinde is listening and has heightened senses, she will briefly hear a "uh-oh" over the phone.
She makes no notice of being able to hear that one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I know who that is. Why?
She has delighted me with a visit to my gallery this evening on official business, and I was going to speak with her, but I am admittedly unfamiliar with many of the important faces among the kindred, and I simply wouldn't want to share information with a stranger without having at least confirmed that they are who they say they are.
Okay. Well, shit. I'm gonna have you ask her one question. And see how she responds to it. Ask her where she was in 2012.
If Mercy pulls the phone away from her ear to then look at Lucinde, does she answer or should she parrot this question at her?
She doesn't she doesn't answer like she heard it specifically.
Okay. He has asked where you might have been in 2012.
In 2012, I was present during the Prague Conclave. I was witness to the murder of Hardestat the Younger, the former Inner Circle member of Clan Ventru, and head of the clan. He was murdered by a Theo Bell, a shotgun blast to the face, if I recall. Blew his head clean off. Didn't even have time to throw up the fortitude.
At this point, Tony will be speaking very, very low into Mercy's ear. Say, okay, this is really her. You're in front of a Red Alistair.
At this
It's
moment,
bigger.
she goes, "The Red Alistair, Mr. Giovanni."
He doesn't respond. Mercy, to be clear, there is something called the Red List. I think you know what that might be just by the name. High criminals, top wanted by the Camarilla. You're in front of the person who goes around collecting those heads. Be respectful. And, Alistair, have a good night. And Tony will hang up on Mercy.
Great, thanks. Abandoned me to the wolves. That's not what she says, of course. Trying to remain impassive, as she's just been hung up on by somebody who sounded quite scared for how she's interacted with him in the past. She'll put her phone away politely, perhaps put it on Do Not Disturb.
Make a frenzy check.
Oh, fuck.
Y'all didn't just hear the cackling that happened behind me.
I'm digging for anything to give me an addition to this roll, but I don't have anything. Do I have a difficulty or?
The difficulty is, let's say it's a 1. You're aware of the presence in the room with you.
Okay.
You're good. For now.
Thank you for allowing me that. I mean no offense. I simply wouldn't want to share this with anybody, or with just anybody.
She waits for a small pause in your sentence before saying, "It's completely understandable. Most know my name. Very few know what I look like or meet me in this way. I respect the effort to maintain loyalty to your prince. And to the Camarilla, for that matter."
Of course. I do know some of why Miss Masters has called, but I can't claim to know all of her plans, of course. My understanding for her justification is that she has found something old that indicates, and this is a very practiced look for Mercy, but also there's honesty to it in this moment, where she knows that she doesn't know enough here, and this look that she gives here is like, I know that perhaps she's not, like, I know I'm not using the right words and I don't know all the perfect terminology, but the information I'm giving you is what I can offer, right? And so she gives her this look and she says something about the ascension practices to the inner circle, or something of that nature is on this paper. I haven't seen it exactly. This thing she has found, and I know she wanted to discuss it with people who it matters. I don't know much beyond that. It seems to indicate that there is a person, perhaps Miss Masters, perhaps another Ventrue, who is spoken of in this document, and I believe it indicates something about the proper place. I really don't know very much about it, but I know that was what has appeared recently within the secrets of the court, and that was why she has called. Um, sorry, the representative of the circle that she reached out to. Um, Again, I don't know all of Miss Master's plans or what drives her, but I don't believe that her summons were with intention to do harm or any sort of ulterior dark motive. Um,
You claim that your prince has stated no evidence to support the idea that this summons is in fact a trap for the member of the inner circle, correct?
Correct.
You also claim that she has found something, quote, very old that indicates that she should ascend. Do you have any more to go on than that?
Don't know that Mercy does. Out of character here, I feel like this is an accurate representation of what Mercy knows, but it has been many months. Am I forgetting anything
Um,
incredible here?
you know that the said old thing, um, is housed. None of you have seen it. You've seen the box that it's in. The box that it
Mhm.
was in was engraved with like a poem that was akin to like a prophecy, essentially. Um, but beyond, you don't know what's in the actual vessel.
Do Kindred, because they're dead now, have like super memory? Like by saying that she doesn't recall things, is she just being full of shit?
Not, I mean, your memory is about the same as it was when you were alive. That doesn't really,
Okay.
a whole lot of that doesn't change per se. Until you get very old, I think there might be some deterioration there, but not for the purposes of our story.
Okay.
Um, in the case of this, the only information that you are not providing would be the description of the box in the poem that you know of, um, which
Um, she might provide like a poor summary of the poem. You know, I could pretend that I remember enough and offer that, which would be probably close. But I don't know that I don't know how relevant that is here. I mean, I don't know that Mercy finds that important in this situation.
okay, so you give her like a rough summary of the box and the poem.
Yeah, there was a box, some sort of like long, not even long winded, but some sort of
It's like two sentences.
a cryptic poem uh, that implies perhaps her intention is in alignment with it.
Uh, at that, Lucinda pauses for a moment, and for the first time since meeting you, she kind of lets her eyes wander a bit, like she's in thought. Has your prince ever exhibited how best to word this? Has Magdalena Masters, since becoming prince, or even before, because I believe that you knew her before, correct?
Correct.
Has she ever spoken almost directly in your mind? In a way where maybe she slammed her hand down on a table, stomped her foot, and then it was almost like she spoke directly into your mind.
That does ring a bell. I don't know if it was directly into my mind or if it was. I think she was speaking aloud. I don't know that there was.
Was it similar to it drowned out all of the sound around you? You could hear her very clearly?
It was right. I think so. Yes.
Yes.
That does sound that. Yeah, I think so.
Do your other coterie members have experiences with this?
We often work together. I would imagine that in those situations, most were present. Um, does it? Would such an ability affect different kindred differently?
Not,
I,
not
I,
the one that I'm thinking of.
I can't speak to what they experienced, but I do believe they were present for such situations. If yes, I think so.
Your coterie, I have noticed that it has grown recently. You were gifted a child of your own by Prince Masters, similar to how you were gifted to her. Is this correct?
Yes.
And what clan would he be from?
Um.
It's Lasombra. You can just say Lasombra.
Yeah. She's. It's a clan I'm less familiar with. I don't know that they are represented here. The La Sombra, when the city was most recently under attack, were doing some experimenting, and my new childer came about then.
The remainder of your coterie to Clan Toreador,
Mm.
Giovanni,
Yes.
and I believe he has someone with him. Is that correct?
Uh, the Giovanni member, I believe he does. I don't know that I.
A
Uh,
woman?
yes, I don't know that I know her clan.
That's fair.
It might not have come up. I don't always know what questions to ask people.
It hasn't actually come up.
It has. I believe that you've been telling me the truth, Miss Grace, which is great for us both. It makes things a lot easier. I have a lot to get to this evening and the coming evenings, and I expect that you will be available should I have any more questions.
Yes, if you'd like, well, clearly you know where to find me. And I would extend a welcome here again. If you don't mind, I do have a more private home that I would prefer at least warning before you visit it. Um, but here, this is much more public, and you would be most welcome. I could also give you a phone number to reach me at if that would be helpful.
No phones.
Of
Um,
course.
for the purposes of this investigation, face to face is how I prefer them. I would also encourage you to make aware your coterie members. However, outside influence, such as any relationships that you might have with anarchs, keep their ears clean of this conversation and any future conversations.
Sure, I can do that.
The The only other thing that I will say, um, unless you have any questions, and she'll pause.
Yeah, in that moment, Mercy will speak up. She'll say, I don't know what sort of communication that you may have with other Justicars. Um, but it's my understanding that there is another in the city in this moment.
You see her eyebrow raise very slightly. You can only tell because you've been staring at her as intently as she's been staring at you.
Yes, the Toreador Justicar has made her presence within the city known as well. I sort of assumed that you were together, but if that's not the case, that I.
To whom did she make contact with?
God, the Primogen of the Toreador in the city. Um, her name is Annabelle.
Was the Primogen the one that called her? Because generally they don't have that ability.
God, you told her this. No, I don't believe so. Another woman who I've only met in passing. And she'll spend a second thinking. Um, I think I've heard her called Portia. But I don't know that I've seen much of her either. I more know that she is here.
Do you happen to know the reason?
God, like how much trouble am I causing? Matt, you make me so anxious with this game.
You tell me you love it, so that's what I do.
I do. It's great. I know that I have the shovel and that I'm digging, but I have no awareness of how deep
I've
this
given
hole
you
is getting.
all golden shovels. It's your job to use them.
He's just digging the china.
That's right. I'm just going for it. I don't. Annabelle is not my biggest fan, and I am not often privy to what she does or who she keeps company with. So I know very little. I've only seen this woman in passing, and I have no idea for what reason she's done anything.
I think that's a good place to start.
Um,
She looks away briefly, kind of thinking about what she's planning to say next. And when I need to close the Discord. And when she
I'm sorry.
when she kind of her eyes kind of turn back to yours, she says, "Your loyalty is admirable. I know that she took you in when no one else would. If there's anything more that comes to mind, please feel free to reach out."
of course. How would I go about that, if you don't mind my asking?
There's a coffee shop down the street.
Mm.
Not the one with the green mermaid lady. The other one, the family run one. Been here 50 years,
Good.
maybe longer.
We don't deal with that mermaid lady.
If you need to get into contact with me before I contact you again, and I will be contacting you again, order a cup of coffee, sit by the window after 7.
Okay. Um, is there anything else I can help you with this evening?
The two coterie members that are from Clan Toreador, do you have their address?
I don't actually.
That's fine. I'll find it. You can feel free to let them know I'm looking.
Thank you. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Again, coterie members, this is fine to discuss. Anyone else, not good. Do you understand?
Of course. Actually, a clarification.
Don't tell the prince either.
Right. That would have been my question. Thank you. Um, I believe I can manage. Thank you.
In the event that I need to speak with the prince, I will invite all of her children there to witness it, just to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Of course. I will, of course, make myself available.
Excellent. On that note, I thank you for your time, and I apologize for my uninterrupted intrusion. You've been a very good host.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you and have you here. I can't say I look forward to it again, as I'll admit that I was quite surprised, but I'm sure that it will only be better from here. Maybe I only hope so.
That's the kind of wishful thinking that they put in tabloid magazines. And as she says that, she'll walk out.
Great, 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 great.
As a side note,
Hmm.
Mercy really put her phone on Do Not Disturb, right?
Yeah.
If she checks it, there's a text message. It says, "Text me when you're done and let me know you're okay."
Fair. Yeah. Cool. So she's gone as far as Mercy knows?
As far as you know, she left out the door. She did not bamf out. She did not disappear from view or anything
Mhm.
crazy. She walked out. You even at this point you could probably hear her, the heels of her boots clicking across the linoleum floor in your gallery, or the tile, whatever you have, and you would have heard the door open and close. She would not have
Okay.
made an attempt to be discreet or hide that she was leaving or anything like that. She was very honest with you in that regard.
Great.
And now, as that scene is concluded, and you, unless you have anything you want to do in the immediate aftermath of that.
She would check her phone afterwards because she had only, of course, turned it off so she was not interrupted, and will give an affirmation to Tony that she is still unliving. Um, God, and I guess she'd probably want to send a group text for an emergency meeting, perhaps the next time everybody is available, or the next morning, the dawn of the next evening.
Well, you're busy the dawn of the next evening,
Oh,
while
fuck,
you
great.
and Braggy have a meeting previously set up with the prince.
Great.
But
Well,
as the scene concludes, night turns to day, day back to night. We find ourselves in the first full night of this season. And as is tradition, everybody give me them rouse checks. How hungry are y'all when you wake up? How people were ready to go. Love it. Oh, Braggy, did you spend the night in the cemetery? sleeping on a cold slab?
Probably. Possibly. I don't know.
Very good. Well, only Braggy seemed to get hungry,
Hold up.
which is good.
There's one more. Needs it.
Oh yes, and our newest muted
Oh,
kindred, also hungry.
you're
The
muted.
two
Sorry.
youngins wake up with a thirst. And it is in this thirst that you find yourselves. Some of you wake to a crisp evening with many thoughts on your mind. A couple of you have a meeting set up with the Prince, but that's not necessarily where we're going to start this night. Ygritte, you got a gift, whether you wanted it or not, from someone who, for all intents and purposes, could have pulled your name out of a hat and you got the short straw. Your dreams, since becoming a kindred, have been fairly normal for you. Nothing really of note. Until you visited the labyrinth. Until you talked to Clancy that one night and realized you had in your possession a new book. One that you know holds some sort of mystery. Whatever that may be, whether it is benevolent or evil or whatever you want to call it. The dream that you have this last night, there is a shadow. Not sleep paralysis like per se. A presence in your dream that just by virtue of being there kind of pulls you into the realization that you are dreaming. This is an unconscious place. And in this void between consciousness, you notice this shape, this figure. Gesundheit, it says. But when it realizes you have sensed its presence, looks to you and goes, well, it seems that I have new friends to meet. I would like to introduce myself. You can call me C. That seems to be an easy way.
Sorry, did you say C?
C, like the letter, yeah.
Okay.
Just the letter, yeah.
Hey, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Shadowy.
I can be shorter if it would be less confrontational for you. And it shrinks slightly below your height. I can be whatever you want me to be here.
No, I'm just really sarcastic.
Oh, I'm aware. I think that's going to be fun for all of us, as a matter of fact.
Alright then. Name's Ygritte.
Oh, I'm familiar with you. You are Ygritte. I know the one that made you. I know a lot of your surface level thoughts, actually. That's okay. I know it can be disorienting at first. I don't mean to pry, it's just kind of what happens when I get here. I have to imagine, though, that finding a spooky, strange, magical book in your pocket, probably not leave you with no questions, I'd be happy to answer a couple for you for free.
What's this dream area kind of look like? Is it like, is she in her bed? Is it like a living room? What's?
Do you remember your childhood bedroom?
Oh, okay.
That's where you're at. Being spoken to from the closet where he's at.
Of course, he's in the fucking closet.
Reassuring. Yeah, that's so comforting. Thank you.
I really gotta close the Discord, but I don't want to.
So she kind of just sits kind of crisscross applesauce. Just kind of like, I mean, finding a mysterious book in my bag is honestly not the weirdest thing that's happened to me in the last year.
I can see that actually. You're new.
And I'm not even talking about this. You know, and she like points to like her teeth. Like, I'm not even talking about that. Life's been weird. So what do you want?
You know, that's a very interesting question. I think I want what a lot of us want, which is just the freedom to do what we want, right? That's kind of why we're all here. We just want to live. We just want to do what we desire to do. I don't want to put a whole lot of labels on it, but every person that touches the book, we have the conversation. We kind of do the tit for tat sort of thing. Sometimes I help out, sometimes you help out. It's just a lot of give and take, really.
So if you're coming to people who come in contact with this book in order to get freedom, you're obviously trapped there. Why?
I don't know if that qualifies as a freebie question. That one might cost you a little bit. But you know what? First time, first night. I understand. I'm
Hey, you didn't put any like limits on this thing, so
That's a fair point. So in kind, I'll answer. I'm not necessarily trapped where I'm at. It's just harder for me to get where I'm going. Takes a little effort, takes a little outside help. The uh, the thing that's really important to remember though is that it's it's kind of like you're part of a family now because that book that you have, you're the latest in a long line of people that have held on to it, used it, thrown it away, given it up, had it taken. And every time I've moved from one to the other, I take a little bit of them for myself. Willingly, they give it. For example, and a little more good faith on my part, the previous holder, Mr. Antonius Giovanni, he used me. He got something that he wanted. And now I have a little bit of him. And as he has this voice says that, you can see the kind of shadowy figure begins to kind of morph and twist a little bit and kind of reveal what Tony looks like or used to look like when you first met him. I'm a little bit of everyone. All of you specifically. And how much of this really depends on you and what you want. We can have a very mutual relationship, very beneficial for us both. I can make you one of the youngest of the species. I can make you as powerful as the prince, maybe more. I can guarantee your life well beyond the years of your masters. I can do other things as well, but it's really limited to your creativity almost.
I
Before-
just want to make it clear, the whole time
Yeah.
that this thing's talking and they're having this conversation, she is doing what I'm doing. Eyebrows, rolling her eyes, you know, just kind of like, okay. You know, she's not giving this thing anything
That's fair.
except for millennial bullshit attitude.
I feel that. And it does too. And it goes, you know what? I understand it. Shady deals, not your thing. I see where I'm coming from, and I understand you're not that receptive to it yet. And I don't intend you to be. I've never once, well, maybe once or twice, I've never usually made the big deals on the first night. This is more of an introduction. This is more of a, hi, nice to meet you. We all inhabit the same plane of existence for a little bit kind of thing. And I let you know that I'm here. And I let you know that if you need anything, you can reach out. Anywhere, anytime. And I'll be there.
Fair enough. I'm not saying no to anything yet. I'm sure as fuck not saying yes to anything yet.
Smart.
But, for the moment, you've at least got my attention.
Excellent. That's all I really wanted. So, have a good night. And he snaps. And you wake up. Aren't you happy that he picked your name?
Yes, actually.
Oh, yes, I see. So, rouse checks were had. Braggy, I am going to touch on you briefly, as the previous night you did a thing
Ooh.
that no one knows you did in character, but they all know that you did out of character. To further address that, the message still is undelivered. In the morning, or not the morning, in the previous evening, or the subsequent evening. What am I talking about? The message remains undelivered, unread. From your tech knowledge, you know that it is most likely didn't get through. But you made the effort. No one knows. Agent Stone is a slippery individual. The remainder of your evening would have been relatively uneventful beyond that. As you awake this night from wherever you chose to go down, whether that be in the cemetery where you were at, or back at your haven, or the master suites, or wherever that may be, you know that tonight you have a meeting with the prince, you and Mercy both, to discuss important things. Now, before we get into that whole meeting situation, the other three of you that I have not addressed yet, Antonius, Six, and Roland, is there anything that you wanted to do to prepare for later in the evening?
That's a very good question.
I have a question that may inform this. Can Mercy send a text before her meeting? Just it's like two full sentences.
Absolutely. Yes, you have
Okay.
you have at least an hour before your assigned time. You know that Maggie wakes up a little bit earlier than you do, just because you've spent time with her. But you know that she would have set it for later to give you ample time to do what you needed to do.
Okay, so Mercy just sends a text message. It'll be in the text line for everybody.
Neat.
Fun.
For those of you who aren't in our Discord, it says a second visitor is in the city looking to visit Roland the Egret. Be aware, be safe.
The responses to your message all begin to ding in as your code remembers rise. But you have plans, you have a meeting to attend to, so whether or not you focus on that before getting to your meeting and finding your childer that went off on his own is your decision.
She's got to find Braggy. I mean, this is technically his meeting, so.
I feel like
Right.
it's very stereotypical for a group like this to go, can somebody please put a bell on the La Sombra? We can't find it.
Ding, ding,
Fair.
ding, 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 ding.
Oh no! See, here's the real trick. Braggy is just waiting ahead of time for the meeting for Mercy to show up. Believe it or not,
Uh-huh.
Oh.
he was prepared.
Is he prepared? I don't think he's prepared.
The
Oh no,
early-
absolutely never, not even once, not even a little preparation. But you know,
The early Kendron catches the bloodworm. The meeting, as you know, will be in Maggie's upper penthouse suite. The floor right before the roof. You've been there many times. I'm assuming you make your way there, as per usual, with little or no distraction. You enter into Nova, that is not suspiciously so, but very absent of clientele this evening. Not anything that would be concerning or any issues. But you're greeted by Will at the door. And Will kind of looks at you and he goes, "Hey, got a minute?"
Sure?
So you show up at Nova. Will walks up to you and says, "You got a minute?" Is there something going on in town?
We're friends, right, Will? Or friendly,
I
at least.
mean, yeah. I mean, we're friends as much as, you're a monster, my boss is a monster. You guys could crush me with one hand kind of thing, but I like you. I mean, you're fun. We've gotten along. That's concerning, though.
I would love to check in with you after this meeting I have with Maggie
Oh, yeah.
here soon.
Braggy's upstairs, I
prior-
think, already. Just as
Oh,
FYI,
thank
I
goodness.
was going to tell you. But go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. The short answer to your question is I don't know what I can say to you that won't put you in danger.
He looks a little confused. He goes, I just meant like a convention or something, because the clientele's really sparse the last couple of nights. Is there something else? Like something like going on, or like...
She just looks at him. She's said the line before, she's made eye contact. He's speaking further and she says,
You know what?
"Well, I really like you."
Yeah.
I enjoy the time that we spend together. I enjoy our conversations.
Okay, well, I started this night with a lot less anxiety than I have right now, so I appreciate that, Mercy. I really do. Um, can you at least give me a hint, like, kind of like the size of the guys that I like the crew that I have working here? Should I hire some extras? Should
I would change absolutely nothing. In fact, pretend that you're not anxious about this conversation at all.
He like audibly laughs out loud at that and goes, "Yeah, that's gonna be real fucking easy to do. Thanks, appreciate that."
Hey, if I were a human, I'd fud about this. So,
Well, I'm technically a little in between.
Mhm.
Val, I need a whiskey with extra whiskey and some more whiskey. You go. I know you got a meeting. I'm out. And he walks off and goes over towards the bar.
Great. Now he feels like I do.
Muttering under his breath, irritated musings about how he wishes he had just let you walk in and not talk to you. However, you find
I don't mean
yourself-
to interrupt you when
No.
you're in a flow,
I'm not
but
in a
I
flow.
had wanted to send that message because you had asked if anybody else was doing anything before this meeting, and I didn't know if it would inform how they spent their mornings prior to that. And then we derailed into the meeting, and so I didn't know if you wanted to follow up with that.
That's a fair point, actually. Is anybody taking that information that Mercy has texted you and doing anything special with it?
I got my own meeting to get ready for, so nah.
Like,
Other than panic?
Yeah,
other
besides
than,
wondering,
like, why? Because my response to that?
how does she know of a second person?
Well, no. Why is she coming after us?
Yeah,
Fun. Good.
great.
That makes things more interesting for me, actually.
Yeah.
The rest of you left to wander as Mercy probably doesn't respond to many texts from this point on.
If only Will hadn't distracted me.
Oh, bullshit.
As he does, he is a distraction. The familiar path that you take up to the up to the room. What did you do is just a fantastic line that can sum up a lot of these interactions. You make your way up to the penthouse, the de facto throne room of the Prince of Chicago, Magdalena Masters, who is, when you enter into the space, not standing as pompous as she appears in my artwork, but is sitting behind her large desk, working on paperwork, to say the least, from what you can glean. Braggy is sitting kind of off in one of the seating areas, waiting, having gotten there before you. And as you enter, she looks up from behind the desk, closes the paperwork, and stands to greet you. Says, "Mercy, dear. Welcome, as always. I'm happy to see you tonight, and I've been told by Fee that we have something important to discuss, you, myself, and Braggy. Is this correct?"
Yes. Braggy's brought something to my attention that he wanted to share with you as well, and I thought that would be in all of our best interests.
It's fine by me, dear. Please, let us all have a seat. Should Fee join us for this meeting, or not?
Yes.
This is Braggy's meeting.
Very well. Fee, dear, and she raises her voice a little bit, and Fee comes out of the office space that is kind of next to where, like off to the corner of the room, and she comes out. And she closes and locks her door, and she comes and sits over with a pad of like a legal size pad and a leather bound kind of binder, and she sits nearby. And they both look at you, Braggy, and then to Mercy. And they say, well, begin when you feel the need.
Braggy will pull out the letter that he received and hand it to Maggie and say, I received this strange letter a few nights ago, and it seems to be wanting to put some distrust between us. And Braggy gestures to Mercy and to Maggie and continues to say, I'm not entirely sure what to make of it, but I'm hoping I can get some insight as to what I should do about this.
Maggie reads over the letter. And when she finishes, she hands the letter over to Fee, who begins to make some notations and read over the letter as well. And after a brief moment, Maggie looks up at you, Braggy, and she goes, well, I see that you have made the choice to bring it to my attention. That will score you some points for me. But how do you feel about your current situation? And where you fit in this food chain, so to speak?
I suppose I feel concerned not with my place in the food chain, since I'm kind of new to this on life. I understand I'm going to be very low on the on that chain there, but I don't want more chaos to hit the streets of Chicago or the world, for that matter. I wasn't sure at first if I should bring this to your attention, but that seems to be the right call in my mind. And I guess time will tell what happens.
Maggie kind of, without looking towards her, mentions to Fee, see if Victoria has received anything similar. The way that this is worded, adopted one, could have been addressed to any one of my children, unfortunately. And if there are more letters seeking to drive a wedge, I would like to know about them. And Fee kind of nods slightly and makes some more notes. Mercedes, have you received any such notation?
Mercy will take a moment and make very distinct and direct eye contact with Maggie here and say, there are many things that have come across my agenda these last few nights, but I think they are better suited to a private meeting later.
Fee, make sure to make space whenever Mercy has time and a willingness to discuss. Thank you, Mercy. It should be noted that I have thrown your coterie into a bit of a predicament. The ones here that evening, privy to the machinations of my future plans, there is no shortage of enemies that I have made, I'm sure. And I cannot think of an A other than Annabelle, but I don't think she would be so cryptic. She would probably just tell me to fuck off to my face. So I don't know that she would make this effort. And
In fact, on that note, Maggie, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Annabelle has some guests of her own in the city at this moment. I don't know if she's spoken to you about that. That may know more about this as well.
elaborate.
It's my understanding that the woman that has been hanging around Annabelle lately has called a Justicar to the city.
Maggie's eye raises. You hear a small, snapping from Fee, and she pauses for a moment and sets a broken pencil down next to her and reaches into her pocket and pulls out another one and continues writing without looking up. A Justicar in the city of Chicago, you say?
As far as I'm aware, that's yes.
This is a lot for me to take in, personally, if I may interject for a moment. But, who is this Justica? The person we met the other night?
She was in Tony's Elysium.
That can't be the same person as the Red Alistair boat? Who? What? I'm confused now.
I don't know that Bruce would have, or I don't know that Braggy would have known about Mercy's visit.
It's in the text message
It's in
line.
the text.
Somebody with a
Message,
big
yep.
mouth in the text messages has told the fledgling.
Uh-huh.
So Braggy's the Tom Holland of the group.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll just say anything, and it does not matter.
Excellent. I was
Mhm.
not aware of this development, and I'm very happy about it.
Mercy didn't say a damn thing.
Uh-huh.
At this, you hear another snap, and she goes, "One moment," and she gets up and she goes back to her office, and she brings a pen this time.
I was gonna say, you better get a fucking pen.
Oh,
And
God.
and
I haven't even
Maggie
showed up in this episode yet. I've fucked up so many things.
and Maggie says,
No, you haven't fucked up anything. Somebody else has.
Maggie's eyes close at this mentioning of a red Alistor. And she says, Mercy, Braggy, do you mean to tell me that Lucinda is in town and you've had communication with her?
I have no idea who Lucinda is, but I can assure you that I have no idea what's going on here. as well.
Be fine.
I've said no such things, Maggie.
You see, now I am far more curious as to how you would even come to know that name. The Red Alastor is, well, as far as I know, spoken of only in hushed rumors in this city. And while they have been propagating for the last few years that someone going by that moniker is here recruiting for her archons, is very few who reliably can confirm that this person exists. The fact that you know it means one of two things. Either there is someone pretending to be the Red Alastor, which would be a very dumb move for that person, or one of you is not being entirely truthful with me on one of your coterie or yourselves having met with said person. Please, I will ask you both again. Have you interacted with the Red Alastor, the Justicar of the Ventru clan, my clan?
It's a strong no from me. I was just caught off guard by the fact that there's a lot of heaviness in this room, and you could cut the tension with a butter knife. So I don't know Lucinde, nor do I understand the weight of what's going on here. I don't understand anything.
See, I believe that we might ask a friend of ours who I've spoken with recently to comment on this. Tony, actually, I spoke with him recently, and he might be able to shed some light on this situation.
Can I make a roll here to see if I can discern if Mercy's trying to
Everybody can discern that Mercy is doing something weird as fuck in this moment, yes. Have you, okay, have you ever
Yeah.
once had Maggie ask Mercy a question and then have Mercy directly ignore her and speak to somebody else? Absolutely not. You know something weird is happening.
That is entirely for you. I would say that you would pick that up without a roll. You would know that Mercy is being unnecessarily and probably uncharacteristically cagey in this moment. Very short answers, not normal Mercy speak. And you know, based on the text line, that Mercy was the one who essentially brought this other second visitor up. And so there would be a little alarm bell going off in your head that this is weird, at least from that perspective.
Mercy hasn't checked her phone since she sent that message out, but there are text messages
Mercy,
that Braggy has access to.
at this actually, Maggie will say, Mercy, you're telling me that Antonius has met with this Justicar.
No, Maggie.
The shadows in the room begin to stretch out a little bit from where Maggie is sitting. I have...
Maggie.
Go on.
I think perhaps that if we spoke privately now, I could shed light, perhaps not on the questions you're asking now, but perhaps contextualize our meeting today and some of the issues we're currently having.
Her eyes narrow at you a bit. Fee, Braggy, without breaking eye contact with you. Leave. Now.
Yes, Miss Masters.
And Fee gets up and kind of ushers you quietly out down the elevator. Leaving Mercy and Maggie alone in the penthouse suite of the master suites. The air in the room is thick. You don't need to breathe, you can feel it. Maggie leans in slightly to you and says, I have given you much grace.
Funny.
It's like she's testing to see if you're going to break. In return, you have given me no reason to doubt your stance on things, your intentions. And I do not, at this moment, feel a need to adjust that belief. However, I will ask you now, in the privacy that you know this place affords, what the fuck is going on in my city that is not being told to me?
Okay. And at this moment, Mercy's been holding her poise fairly well for all that she's definitely being weird. But Maggie and Mercy have had deep, important conversations before. And in this moment, do you remember when Maggie and Mercy discussed their scars in the vaulted room downstairs?
Yeah, I was looking at the conversation logs from that time actually last week.
Wonderful. So this is probably the first time since then that Mercy's looked that similarly conflicted and upset and bothered. And once the room is empty and Maggie has said, what the fuck is going on? That's when sort of her guise of being put together falls apart. She will say, okay, I am choosing my words carefully. I've been trying not to say anything to anybody who might suffer the consequences of my actions. And I was going to ask you to have Fee peer into my mind and then to stay out of it for the foreseeable future. But at this point, I don't believe that's safe anymore. Maggie, I also got a letter, the same one, the exact same letter as Braggy. He is not aware of this. There was a follow-up letter that followed when Braggy brought it to me the first time, when I set up this appointment here with Fee. That same day, I was given a second letter that I did not tell Braggy about because I do not want him to be in danger. And I don't think that I have done well enough as a new kindred to indoctrinate him into what is safety for the kindred for anything. I mean, what has it been? 3, 4 weeks, maybe, that he's been undead, and in that time we've done so much, and what more can I tell him beyond the baser rules of the kindred? And I don't want to drag him into this same mess that I am in, and I am concerned for the coterie. In fact, I'm sure that I have caused trouble for Annabelle and Portia and perhaps even Roland and Egret, because I mentioned the Justicar who is visiting, the Toreador Justicar. Sorry, like I said, I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I received a second letter and an invitation to meet somebody on behalf of whoever A is, and I still do not know who A is. But I have learned a great many things, and I have agreed to work with them in order to try and figure out what's happening. And I want you to know that I'm doing everything I can to figure out what's going on, to be able to provide you with information without finding myself permanently dead, or you either. They want to know about the document that you found. Particularly, they have asked me about why you might have been calling towards the Inner Circle. They want to know what happened in the warehouse where the former prince died and your former master met his final death. Many conversations. I've done my best to not give information that is not mine to share when I can avoid it. However, I can tell you for sure that A and her compatriots are looking for the box that contains your document. They actually have asked me to destroy it. I would love, by the way. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sure you'll have a lot to say before I get into that. So yes, I've agreed to work with whoever A is in order to achieve their goals. But they are not the only new player in this city, and the power being flaunted in front of me now, not you, of course, but in these recent nights, indicates to me that I have to be very careful, and that the things that I say to you or anyone else are likely to be held against both me and you.
At this, Maggie's going to hold her hand up to interject momentarily. First and foremost, dear, Jack was never my master. He was my killer. Very different.
I apologize.
It's fine. Semantic point. Second, I believe you. And I don't know that you need to discuss anything further with me. I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. Thirdly, and forgive me, I'm trying to address all of your points and concerns. Fee has been instructed that you and the rest of your coterie are off limits when it comes to her abilities. Nor does she want or have need to use them anymore. So I would give you my word that you need not worry about that. However, if you need her to, she's willing to assist at my request.
I'm not sure how it works, but I don't know that it would be safe as of recent events.
It is in all likelihood that this person, A, whatever they choose to call themselves, has or will take issue with Fee and who she is and what she is. So, for the time being, she'll remain out of it. I'll ensure that she remains safe. However, to get back to the points at hand, there are two Justicars in my city, one of which is the Red Alistair herself. And while I don't know much history of her per se, I know that if they want someone dead, they being the inner circle, she would be the one to do it. Now, I am not dead, nor do I know that she would want to destabilize the city of Chicago. That could bode ill for the Camarilla. However, one thing that is not known to the coterie yet, has not had yet confirmation to come up. I did receive communication from the inner circle member of the Ventrue. They do intend to meet here. I assume there will be much pomp and circumstance and security, for that matter. Something we will address further down the line. In the meantime, and to assist you in your nefarious endeavors, and she will get up and go over to her desk and pull out the box. They want you to destroy this, correct?
That's correct. Well, they mentioned, or rather, I mentioned the box, and they asked me to destroy the box. And frankly, if I were to come across it and do such a thing, I could only confirm then that I had done what they asked.
As Maggie's holding the box with her hand, she crushes it. Here you go. The item in the box has...
I don't want to know more than that.
But you will. The item in the box has led somewhere else. Now, you may tell them whatever it is that you need to. If this ends it, I'm happy for that. I have a feeling it won't. Because I have a feeling, based on what was in the box, that the moves that I am making, to say the very least, are going to put someone on that red list of loose ends. But if I'm able to do the things that I'm trying to do before it's me, it won't be anyone in this city. And that is all I will say.
Thank you for the grace that you're giving me. There's only so much that I can currently share, and I think that I have done that.
Tell me
Um,
this, because I feel that Antonius would have reached out. Did Lucinda meet with you?
I spoke to someone recently in Chicago at the just in town by the Bean, you know. Beautiful woman. I didn't see her face at the time. Dark haired, fairly young in appearance. Definitely a kindred. um, and that person told me I could call her Al. Um, but beyond that, I am concerned that answering the question you've asked me would put me in a fair bit of danger in the nights to come. However, if you were to speak to Antonius or have Fee do so, of a similar line of questioning, I think that the answers you're looking for could be given to you.
You do realize, dear, that when you spend enough time around people who like to keep secrets, as I have, and you have a conversation with one such as yourself, who is not normally so reserved in her speaking, that sometimes the answers are not needed to be said, and that is quite all right. And I think I understand what you're saying. For the purposes of that, should it be beneficial, I will confirm that nothing has been said to me about who may have met with the Red Alistair. Now, was there more that we needed to discuss? Because my plans for this evening have shifted slightly.
No, I appreciate your help with the box. May I take that with
Absolutely.
me?
Yes.
Um,
They can piece it back together and read in the little prediction poem, whatever you want to call it, on the outside of it. The inside's contents were not a parchment, as I previously had thought.
I actually intend to have one of my actually perhaps Will would do it. Although I have to speak to Will. How much given what you know now, rather than what I have said this evening, how much danger do you think I put the others in by sharing or not sharing any of the things that you have learned this evening? And Will too has asked questions, and uh,
You specifically are inquiring as to what from this conversation that you can convey to the rest of your coterie,
Uh, Also yes, but more. I mean, I've just told you that I'm actively working with somebody who's come into the city and tried to separate at least Braggy and myself, and perhaps Victoria, from you with this letter. I have not told the others, the coterie, but I can tell the coterie things that I wouldn't be able to currently tell you. And I just, for Maggie, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I don't want anybody to end up dead because of what I am doing. And I just wanted to know if you have guidance on that. What can I share with my coterie and my childer about what's happening?
At your kind of exasperated, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing kind of comments, Maggie softens a bit and says, "Dear, you are young. You have been thrust into a world where monsters that live forever battle and move pieces around like pawns on a chessboard. I am a pawn at the moment. I hope to become a hand moving them soon. So, to give you a small bit of advice, I would do what the Red Alastor says to a T. I know that she is one to follow tradition religiously. However, if what she has said to you is that you can express more details to your coterie, then you can. She will not go back on her word once it is given. If she's mentioned, or does mention, again, don't know that you've communicated. If she does mention not to tell me or include me, don't. That is her choice, and as much as it pains me to throw my own fate to the whims of a Camarilla agent, I have no reason to doubt that Lucinde will be fair and just in her handling of the situation. From all accounts, she keeps her word and upholds the traditions. She is well known and well respected. So do what she says. With regards to what you can share of this, or what you should share about your, well,
Extracurriculars.
extracurriculars, thank you, dear. I would say as much as you choose to, because like I have always said to those that I have interacted with, my business is my business, and it's none of your fucking business. So if you choose to share, then share. If it will not interfere with the things and goals that you wish to accomplish, that is your decision. I, as much as I am your master, your sire, surrogate or otherwise, I don't intend to tighten the leash any more than I need to, as I've told you, your sister, and now Braggy. I will treat you with the respect that you give me, or I will kill you, and you're still alive, so, or unalive. However, there is one thing that I wish to caution you on. While I have said what I've said, you are not bound to follow my advice. Do not bring Fee into it. Do not mention Fee as much as you can. Do not give details about Fee or her appearance if you can prevent it. Especially to whomever this A is.
When my plan I don't know if you want to know this, but I'm going to tell you because
I can put my fingers in my ears and go la 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 la.
um, when I planned to have Fee look into my mind for the purposes of this conversation, I mentioned to the courier that there was somebody in the city who could do such a thing. I don't believe I gave additional detail, and I don't intend to give additional detail. But that
Sorry. Did you specifically tell them that she was able to look into your mind? Or did you mention that you were concerned about keeping secrets? How was it worded? What was said specifically? We can rewatch the tape if you need to.
I don't
later.
remember specifically, but
I don't remember either specifically.
here's the answer to that.
Gotcha. I will think on this. However, going forward, please, should any interest be taken in Fee, I would like to be informed immediately.
Of course, I'm fairly certain that is within my ability. And if not, I've been told that I can speak to the coterie.
Well, then it sounds like you know where you're going next. Please give them my regards.
Did you want to speak to Braggy anymore this evening? He has less information than I do.
As long as he's not, like, involving the mortals in any way, I don't think it's too much of a big deal.
I am not aware of anything like that.
Then it should be fine.
Great.
That's
Thank you,
just a
Maggie.
whole can of worms right now that's going on. There's a whole organization, pain in the ass in other ways. However, I do have new business to attend. I apologize for cutting our meeting short. I had intended this to go differently, but this is not undesirable. Thank you.
I'm so glad you feel that way.
Thank you, Mercy, for maintaining the trust that we have. It will, despite what other kindred tell you, get you much further in unlife than always lying and scheming. Sometimes it's more enjoyable to just say what you're going to do in the open. All the more impact when you do
it. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. And it sounds like we both have busy evenings.
Yes. With that, Maggie will bid you adieu. I'm assuming you're going to meet up with Braggy and Fee down in the bar area, which is where they've both gone. Braggy, you and Fee have been sitting in the bar for the remainder of that time as Mercy comes down. And Fee hasn't really said too much to you, but she did at one point turn to you and go, "What was your favorite food when you were alive?"
Ooh, I did really like baked beans.
You had an opportunity
It's at
for
this
character
point-
growth.
It's at this point I feel like I should note that people are requesting candid
Yes.
break time.
A break.
Yeah,
a break.
That is where we're going. That's perfect break spot.
Fuck! Oh,
Um,
damn it, break.
But
You don't have to bring beans into everything.
with that, actually, the reaction that you got is very much Fee stops. She continues to stare at you for a moment as you say that, turns back to what she was doing, and does not speak to you for the remainder of the time. At which point, we shall go to break, and we will be back in 5 to 10 minutes or so, give or take. Apologies for the length of time that went on. I did see the break
No, it's good.
notification, and I was trying to
good.
get there.
It
And
wasn't
then
very long.
baked beans got involved. So, with that, we'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes or so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just go talk to Maggie. Stay safe.
Will do. You've got my number. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you.
And she'll proceed. Will is there, not making eye contact with you. In fact, as he sees you, he goes into the storeroom behind the bar and kind of like hides. But at this point, I think it's we zoom out of Club Nova. We zoom back in on Giovanni Mansion.
Okay.
And we find ourselves seeing what you two are up to. How's your night going?
Well, if I remember correctly, there was a meeting to prepare for with the other Justicar.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, the lack of preparation beyond the usual, except getting one of the safe rooms set up for a meeting, is astonishing. There's no preparation to be done.
Okay. We will say that we are in one of those. Rewinding slightly. Roland and Egret. This Tony, this meeting, you had called the number provided to you and set this meeting up for this evening
Mm-hmm.
with Diana, correct?
Mm-hmm.
As you wake up this evening, Roland and Egret, you have a new letter waiting for you. And it says, very short and brief, Giovanni Mansion and a time. And it would have been the same time that Tony had set up. Seems your presence is requested at this meeting as well.
Who's it signed by?
DI.
Okay.
Very familiar handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Very familiar clan symbol.
Mm-hmm.
All the same trappings provided to you before.
Yeah. That's good. We're gonna go there anyway.
Yeah. It's fortuitous.
Great.
In a way.
But that means she'll be there.
Well, it's better to be in Elysium than anywhere else.
Oh. Okay.
After you wake up and get this letter, you then get a text message that
Oh.
says you have other visitors in the city and they're looking for you.
Yeah. I responded to that.
Yep. And now we're all caught up. You find
Uh-huh.
yourself at the Giovanni Mansion. Security recognizing you and beckoning you in. No unnecessary stops and or nothing prohibiting you from coming in and walking around as you please, as you have been given the permission to do so. The two familiar security, you could probably call them heads of security or generals of security in this scenario where you were introduced or recognized from the other night.
Hmm.
The security presence in the Giovanni house, what would you say it is tonight? More or less or equal?
I would say it would probably be equal.
Okay.
I don't know. You think we should call in extra people for this thing?
Do we want to look like protection or a threat?
We definitely want to make it look like protection.
Say keep it the same.
Keep it the same.
Keeping it the same.
But we'll have a few others on call just in case.
5 minutes before your meeting time, a familiar woman shows up at the door to the Giovanni mansion. She comes inside and says to the security there or nearby, "I'm expected. Where is the master of this house?"
Tony would probably be close to the door to intercept.
You do. You hear the comment, and as
Right
she
on over.
begins to kind of scan the area, not aggressively or anything. She's not, breaking Elysium rule or being overly rude or an ungracious guest. That would not be something that she would do. She sees you and gives a slight head nod. Thank you for the meeting, and so prompt. I respect that.
He'll hand on chest and bow. Tradition's important. Please, this
Good.
way. We have a room prepared.
Good answers. Always good answers. As you guys are walking to this room, she goes, I don't remember the last time I came across a Giovanni. You guys are relatively new here, right?
There was a point where old clan Giovanni did push out of Chicago to other interests. It wasn't but a few years back that we started getting another foothold, honoring the old contracts and what have you.
The I only remember hearing a few stories about the way you guys took power over your clan. Um, it's a good read. Is there any truth to it? Did you guys really overthrow your elders?
Well, as they're walking through. Officially, Clan Giovanni doesn't exist anymore. And as someone who has that last name, I'm proud to say that. Officially, it is Clan Hecata now. That's a new development, but
Hmm. And there was, what was that agreement your clan signed?
1528.
Ah, that's right. Doesn't that
It's getting
expire
close.
soon? Ah, yeah. It's weird. Do you have any hope of continuing that, or are you gonna stay independent, you think?
I'm not actually sure. The talks about that internally haven't truly begun. But if I had an inkling, the way the world's moving now, allies might need to be made. But that's up to people who are higher up in the stratosphere than I. For now, we are neutral.
Right, I think, was it 2028? That's when that's supposed to run out, that agreement with Cam.
I do believe so, yes.
It's interesting all this potential shakeup with things going on in the city. Sorry, I don't want to speak out of turn, but the the thought did cross my mind that it'd be interesting if your clan, who relegated mostly to obscurity until modern knights, had a huge ally in the inner circle for such a monumentous occasion.
He kind of stops, and there's a moment where he gets this like thing like he might not have considered that before. And then he kind of shakes it off and shrugs. When it really comes down to it, I have a role in this city. He keeps walking towards the room. And that is to take care of those that I've been assigned, which currently is everybody in the city that does not have representation. So, as it is, Clan Hecata affairs, for me, are not necessarily top of the board. I'm not really a Primogen. Amici Noctis. Not the title of actual head under the prince. But it's kind of the mouth for people who don't have any kind of representation at all. And that is where I'm focusing my role on these nights. There's only so much to do, especially with all that's been happening.
Well, there has been no short of interesting occurrences in this city, I've come to find out.
You're not wrong.
I do, for what it's worth, hear, though, that as far as the other Primogens are concerned, you are one, regardless of your official title.
That's kind of them. But again, traditions are important. I'm honored by the fact that clans that normally wouldn't get representation are getting a voice at all, and that seems to have been something carried over from Kevin Jackson's. I'm not used to that.
At this
The
point,
city's always...
go ahead.
No, I was like, the city always kind of felt a little progressive.
At this point, I'd say you about are to the room. As you kind of reach up to open the door, she puts her hand up on the door and pushes it closed to hold it closed for a moment.
Mm.
And she gets a little closer to you and kind of hushes her voice a little bit. She goes, just between you and me, the former Prince, Jackson, did you know him?
Not well, but we did meet at least once to, as is tradition, to introduce myself when I came to the city.
You know, from what I hear, his progressivism was nothing compared to the new prince.
Seems to be a trend.
How do you feel about that trend, Mr. Giovanni?
Well, we have a interesting life, he says, looking down the hall. There's random kindred and human guests around. We look at things a little differently. But I will say that it can go either way. It depends. It very much depends. There are traditions in place for a reason, and I personally think that a lot of the anarchs are very foolish for just wanting to live in the moment and expose people to danger because they can't follow the simple rules. I also think that adherence to rules can be abused. It's always somewhere in the middle. The founder of my clan, my old clan, abused the rules pretty firmly. If you believed the stories they told about Augustus Giovanni, it would blow your mind. The kind of nonsensical, power-hungry madness that was there. The old elders. From what I understand, that guy wanted to, mess around in the spirit world and diablerize God. It was that crazy. There's a reason we're not under that kind of leadership anymore. There's a reason that it's Clan Hecata now. So if you're asking me, am I more progressive or am I more traditional? Officially, my clan's independent. And so am I.
She gets
Let's go with moderate.
she gets a small kind of smirk at that. And she goes, "You know, I think that's a good way of describing it. Moderate. It's cute. You sit right in the middle. You kind of benefit from both sides. But you do follow tradition. It's important. Where would we be without them? Listen, I know that we're about to go into a more formal meeting, which is why I wanted to tell you out here personally. I've invited a couple of my clan who know that I'm in the city. You know them, Roland, Egert, I believe.
Well,
Between you and me, again, let me rephrase that. And she gets a little bit closer to you and she goes,
uh-oh.
between you and me, I like to consider myself a moderate as well. And then she steps back and takes her hand off the door.
Tony will put in the key thing, and while opening the door, he'll try and pointedly, assuming 6 is within visual range of this meeting. I assume I'm getting firm nods over here. I hope you won't mind that if our coterie member and the head of security here, also Hecata, has worked with these two in the past as well, joins us. Is that fair for you?
Not even an issue.
Clack. Door opens. Waves to 6 to join.
Roland and Egret, did you have anything you wanted to do before you got to the Giovanni Mansion this evening?
I am going there packing my laptop, but beyond that, I don't think so. We're going to leave that in a backpack, though.
Okay. Um, Then to that end, you're coming around the corner of a hallway where you see Giovanni, Diana, Six slowly walking towards the door. And as you round the corner, Diana sees you and she goes, "Ah, there's my two. Right on time."
Um, I try to be punctual. Hold on, let me get the Giovanni.
There's the brief look that Tony gives Roland. The I hope we're not fucked look. And then formally like, Mr. Doulahan.
You enter the room, the door seals behind you. Your keypad beeps to indicate that you are secured. And
Alright,
at the head
this-
of whatever table is in the room, Diana Iadanza sits, Justicar of Clan Toreador. She leans back as much as the chair will allow and crosses her legs, puts her head back on the top of the chair, and says, "Well, isn't this just the most fun we've all had?" Come
Don't
on,
take a seat.
Roland, Ygritte, we're friends now. No need to be so tense. We're
Is that what we
all
are?
kindred here. We all want the same things. We want the traditions to be upheld, and we want chaos to not take a foothold in this lovely city held by the Camarilla. Right?
Yet it seems to want to every time.
It does. It does seem to want to. A lot recently, so I've been told.
Yeah, we seem to maintain a hold.
Right.
Roland will sit down.
Newbie, what do you think? How are you feeling these nights?
Um, that's a loaded question. There's so many things that I'm not even sure.
I guess that's a fair answer. Not a lot in your response. How much of this have you been a part of? How much of the recent catastrophes have you witnessed?
I've been working for Roland for about a year now. So let's see. I'm sorry, out of character. I'm blanking
6.
on what came first.
The 6. Or no,
Or,
there were
oh, the seven fires.
the 7. Yeah,
7 fires and then the
became the
6.
6.
yeah.
'Cause
No, but I was part of something right before that. What was the where we had to go down and get Marcel?
Oh yeah.
That was still the incursion of the 6, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the Marcel.
The transition of power of the princes.
yeah,
I
it
guess.
was like right after Maggie became prince.
So a year. So werewolves?
No, I
No?
wasn't.
Hmm.
I
One
I
or
believe
two,
I was
guess? I don't even remember.
Gould. Magdalena Masters had just become prince.
Did you just refer to the prince by your first name? Interesting.
I really want to make. Can I say that I didn't say that? Please.
Yeah, you can. I'll let you. I'll let you pull it back.
I don't. Probably should stop drinking.
As
But
much as I like, the anxiety and the tension that comes to the game, I don't want to stress you out in real life. That's not fun. So
I'll say the Miss Masters had just become prince when I was Gould.
right. And you two, and she points at Tony and Six. You've been around longer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Werewolf 1, Werewolf 2.
We were present for. We weren't around for the first War of Chicago. That was back in Kevin Jackson. But I was at least active in this city when the Sabbat first started intruding, and werewolf stuff too. Yes.
Overall, if you had to put feelings on it, how safe do you feel that the Camarilla city of Chicago is these nights?
These nights. Weird.
Post Jackson. Let's say post Jackson.
This town, as I have traveled, is a bit different than most Camarillo cities, in that it has a name for itself, and it seems to have a target on its back. Honestly, I think if the same sort of things had happened in another city, it would not have gone well for the Camarilla side. If it did. I mean, we've had multiple werewolf and Sabbat incursions. That's nowhere near normal. It's like, so how safe do we feel? Like, it shouldn't have been repelled, and it was. I think that says something. Why does it keep happening is another good question that I don't have the answer to.
I've got theories on that. But, more to the point, I guess, what I'm really trying to get at here, kind of the crux of why I wanted to talk with you in the first place, all of you, together in the same room. You will have worked with the Prince in a capacity, pre and post praxis. The evidence, I've got to admit, the Prince has handled things relatively well. We are still a Camarilla city here. That is saying something with the amount of weird shit that happens here. A lot of weird shit. Been all over the place. And I gotta say, the numbers that Chicago's doing, they're above average. Let's just say that. More importantly, though, I don't think I don't know that I can get a fair assessment from any of you regarding the performance of the Prince. I think that's fair. I don't mean it confrontationally. I think you all have your own opinions made up. I think that's a fair assumption. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure.
I would.
So, I guess what I want to get out of this is, where do you think I could get a fair assessment? Who do you think could tell me the truth? Unbiased, or as much as we can be.
Unbiased. If I had to pick a single name to get an unbiased opinion, in all truth, I'm not sure she would want to talk to you. but you'd get the truth. Probably Baron Anita Wainwright.
The Anarch
So-
that's been given territory in the city?
Yeah,
Hmm.
that.
I mean, either that or Siritas.
Sirtas isn't a bad choice
I
I-
know.
if you
No.
have a whole night.
I know Siritas, actually. I've been told about him by Annabelle. I don't know that I really want to go down that road if I don't have to.
I mentioned the Baron mostly because your conversation will finish in one evening. But it's about as close to an outside opinion as you're going to. You know how Primogen courts are. They'll all have angles and schemes and reasons that the prince should be deposed or kept in power. The Baron pointedly dislikes that sort of thing and will give you an objective opinion. I feel truthfully that if Prince Magdalena Masters is a huge fucking asshole, you'll hear those words from her precisely. And her lack of fear of you will breed honesty. I don't know what that says.
That's a good point. I don't know that I would have considered that avenue. But now that it's been mentioned, Anarchs having hold. Roland, I know you've been around a bit. Antonius, I've got a good feeling that you have too. The other two, you seem a little newer. I know you're new, Ygritte. I don't know about you. You're quiet. I like that, but it also off-puts me. Point is, you two, Roland, Antonius, how do you feel about a Camarilla city playing host to a conglomeration of anarchs that are antithetical to everything we, as the Camarilla, hold? Does that not, to you, scream breaking tradition?
I think it was a matter of necessity more than a lot, because when Prince Masters took Praxis, she needed allies that would help her defend the city from the Sabbat.
Got it. So, New Prince, and at this point she pulls out a little notebook and starts writing in it. She goes, New Prince, too weak to maintain Cam City on her own, calls in Anarchs to help. Is that about right? I can sum that up.
Not necessarily. I would
If I-
say is to pull the Anarchs in to try and turn them more towards the Camarilla way of thinking, and give them an ally to at least respect.
And you're all good with this Baron having more of a voice over the kindred of the city? Think that's wise? I've been told that she's been in court, that she's shown up to discuss matters of the city with the Primogen Council. Is that true?
I believe she was at least once.
Toady would have actually been there and the player wasn't. Would that have been true?
Yeah, that would have been true.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I recall her being at one meeting.
I can confirm.
With that, the new Thin Blood uh, representation, it's hard for me to see a strong Camarilla city in Chicago. And I'm grasping at reasons.
If
Right.
if I may, I have a slightly different perspective on it, looking at mortal history. These groups would be in the city either way. The mortal Civil War was, or not Civil War, Revolutionary War, was fought on the basis of taxation without representation.
I'm aware. I was there.
If these groups are going to be in the city anyway, is it not smart of a leader to give them some semblance or feeling of representation to keep them complacent? Because if you purposely push down a group, the oppressed will always then try to rise up. But if you make a group feel, even if you're not listening to them at all, even if their opinions don't actually carry any weight, if you let them speak their opinions, they at least feel like they're a part of the group instead of an outsider. And when we have such larger problems as Sabbat incursions or lupine incursions, it behooves the Camarilla to look like a united front instead of having fractures break out.
I might have a supporting argument to this.
I'm all ears.
Historically, Kindred. Historically. Are you familiar with the problems that Prince Lodin ran into in his reign?
I've heard a summation.
The short version, and as I mentioned before, I am not a very big fan of the Anarch way of doing things. I'm not. But Prince Lodin, he turns to the table. If you're unfamiliar, Prince Lodin was the guy kicking around before Kevin Jackson, who was the person before Magdalena Masters. He was kicking around, and
Roland, you remember Prince Lodin.
Lodin pushed his thumb down on the Anarchs pretty firmly. That stirred up a whole bunch of shit down in Gary, Indiana, and there was a good, long Camarilla Anarch war, as there usually is. It was the norm. Prince Kevin Jackson made a couple of political moves that were interesting. It was like a precursor to the moves that Magdalena would make later, where he, seeing how angry the Anarchs were, gave them a voice, gave them a few concessions, gave them a few less things to be angry about. And lo and behold, the rabble-rousing leaders of the Anarchs didn't really have that much ammunition. It's hard to be really angry at the oppressive elders if they're actually throwing you a bone. So the brewing revolution from most of them just kind of petered out, and they've been trying to find their footing as an organization ever since, because, at least it's always been my opinion, the Anarchs are kind of the equivalent of punk rock. They have to be railing against something to actually be an effective organization. And all of a sudden, they didn't have anything to rail against. They just kind of were rebels without anything to rebel against. So they were just kind of kindred. They were there and paid lip service to the Anarchs, but didn't really cause Jackson any true headaches at all. He made him feel like a little heard, called off. Basically, his grand idea was to remove the position of scourge from the city so nobody was running around just killing thin bloods. And that seemed to raise morale in the city. Seemed to be working for him. And then when things ended the way they did for him, well, it seemed the trend stuck. So there seems to have been at least a little bit of strategic value in that move. And it looks like Prince Masters is just kind of running with it.
So you're saying that she doesn't even have any unique ideas on her own. She's just copying the ideas of her predecessors.
Could be. I mean, Jackson didn't give the Anarchs a seat on the table.
No, he didn't. That's true. She's definitely pushed it further.
And now, instead of Chicago International Airport being a little fiefdom of its own, it's now under Camarilla territory. So we get to see everything that goes in and out of the city.
You're not wrong.
That's new. So, strategically at least, it's turning out as a positive value. I'll give it that much. As for tradition, traditions seem to have been shifting here for a while. I'm sure you know all. The Bruja and the Gangrel have left officially, and the La Sombra have joined. That wasn't just Chicago. That's the Camarilla as a whole.
I'm very
Things are changing,
familiar
and it's
with the La Sombra's inclusion. I'm
what
also
you think of
very
that?
familiar with Clan Gangrel's exclusion. Might have had something to do with it.
Can understand.
Point being, I agree. I think the traditions, while bending, have the strength to shift.
That's fair.
Now, I don't know if they're being pushed too far. That remains to be seen. Either way, I think I need to go meet with this Wainwright. I think that's a good place for me to go next. Roland,
Yes.
our mutual friend, Portia, she asked me to mention something to you should I run into you again. She she wanted me to tell you that should you find yourself in need of a place to perform, her club is open to you anytime. She might have work for you to maintain that residency. Um, I think this has been good, and I'm feeling better.
Well, I'm glad we could at least facilitate you feeling better.
There is one thing, though, that still bothers me. It's not unheard of for a usurper to take the throne, to maintain it, claim praxis, take over. I am concerned at how it was done, why it was done, because all evidence that I have found points me to the very real possibility that Magdalena could be the cause of Prince Jackson's removal. But not just that, she could also potentially be the cause that all of the Sabbat incursions happened in the first place. They seem to have followed her here.
From London.
Yeah, from
I
London.
don't think that that's 100% accurate. The Sabbat took out Prince Jackson before. Prince Jackson was twisted by the Asmitsi
Right.
and necessary to dispatch him. So I don't think it was because of Magdalena.
I'll have to check up on some sources.
Well, I was there, but it
But would
was
agree
a
that you were
twisted mess.
unbiased.
I did not say I was unbiased. I was just truthful.
If anything, it was the equivalent of somebody shaking a soda bottle and popping the cork, and Magdalena had to be the one to stop it.
She speaks. Were you there too?
I was.
Well, quite frankly, I don't really give a shit about what happened in London or the troubles that follow your prince around. I care that the traditions are maintained and that the city remains Camarilla. That's my interest. I'll be perfectly frank with all of you, as I have with Roland and Ygritte already. I don't really give a shit if your prince does what she does. I don't even know what her full plan is. I just know that she's planning something to make grounds on the inner circle. But she's not planning to do anything to my clan. It is unique, this city, in that like I was saying, amount of fuckery happens here as much as it does. But to your point, Antonius, Ygritte, a lot of that doesn't come from the Anarchs. They do seem to be relatively pacified. Whether or not it's a continuation of a good idea by Jackson, I don't really give a fuck. It works now. Working now is good. I have some things to follow up on. I'm not fully planning on leaving the city anytime soon. But you have my number. Should any points of interest happen to come across you that you'd like to share, the Clan Toreador would be most appreciative of any assistance in the manner of determining whether or not the city of Chicago has relatively good chances of remaining under Camarilla law. Primary goal of the Inner Circle, at least from the limited information that I am aware, is not to lose Chicago. So,
I think we can all agree that we have a vested interest in that being.
I think we all do. I think that Kindred as a whole uh, could benefit from the things that are going on in Chicago. as long as these traditions are maintained. And until
Well.
they are changed, these are the ones that we're going to live by. Agreed?
Not just agreed, but in keeping with them, stand. This house has been designated Elysium. You are more than welcome if you need a place at any point, and would be given all of the proper manners and anything else you would need in your time here investigating. We'll clear out the presidential suite if you like.
While the offer is appreciated, I've been given Annabelle's quarters while I'm in town, so I'm good.
Understood.
Hmm.
And he'll move to the door and work
Oh,
the lock so
if I-
that'll actually she'll be able to get out if she wants to.
So I do have a question if you don't find it too presumptuous. Why
Frontier
are
door? Not so much. Go on.
why are there two of you in this city, if I may? Justicars, I mean. I would think one would be sufficient.
At this information, she gets a look on her face that none of you have seen yet.
Oh, is there some kind of roll I can make to see if I can determine what kind of
Is there anything going on there?
look it is?
Yeah, you can do insight. Let me double check a character sheet because I never remember. Give me insight and wits with a +1 because you're a Toreador. Why not? It's fun.
I'm going
Difficulty
to
of,
roll as well and not be a +1.
not +1. Difficulty of 4.
Oh, jeez.
Mm.
Oh, I'm a willpower.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you can
Yeah.
willpower. You can willpower
Oh,
up to 2 and
2, yeah.
yeah, both of you up to 2 if you choose.
Yeah, I got it.
Got it.
Cross over willpower. Oh shit. Oh.
Yes.
Ygritte, you almost there. Roland, you get it. Ygritte, you can re-roll 1 of your die for willpower re-roll and mark off willpower if you choose. You don't have to. Tis an option.
It will be willpower reroll.
No,
Damn.
you don't. Roland and Antonius. Because I didn't see 6. 6 did not roll, correct?
I did.
Okay.
You're off. She's going for it.
Okay. Yeah, you're all 4 of you have the ability to do so. You all rolled
Jeez.
3s when you needed 4s.
Fucking roll.
Yeah, I saw you just crashed out. Is that roll 20
Yep.
just poop?
She's getting there.
Okay. I'll wait. It's fine. I'm good.
That's just not killing anybody. It's fine.
I
fine.
love that. I love that you all rolled 3s perfectly. We almost
Like-
the same way too, with like a crit, a blood dice success, and a regular success. That's impressive.
You know what? It's clearly broken, and we should just.
You think? You think that's what it is?
Damn.
Oh,
No, that's okay.
Oh,
okay. Well, Antonius and Roland, you do get this. She had no idea that was true.
Tony will immediately shut the door again and go, "Oh, Lucinson Town." I also assumed that you would know.
yeah, I apologize if I bring.
There was literally a loud clack, and the door locked and shut magnetically before he said the words. To be clear.
She had stood up slightly from this chair, and she's now going to calmly walk over to Roland, and she's gonna get really close to your face, Roland, and she's gonna say, "When did you find this information out?"
Today
Good answer. And she's gonna
is
go
the truth.
sit back down in the chair and put her hands up in front of her face like this and say, "So you're telling me the Red Alistair's in town? For what reason? And how do you all know about it?"
I
Well-
was given a phone call of somebody wanting to verify whether or not a person claiming to be Lucinda actually was.
Somebody
So-
who? Who called?
Somebody whose last name is also Masters.
Of fucking course.
They apparently got ambushed in a place and wanted to verify whether or not this person was actually Lucinda before speaking to them, so called me, and I gave a brief history quiz, which they disturbingly passed with flying colors, and hung up on him because I didn't want to deal with that anymore, and I immediately told everybody, meaning the people in this room.
Which is now how I found out. So it's after our conversation.
Okay. That changes a couple of things. I need to have a conversation with Portia. I need to have a conversation with Baron Wainwright. I need to have a conversation maybe with the Circle. Because that is not normal.
I did not think so, which is why I thought to inform you.
Pardon my frankness, but... And he leans in slightly. Fucking Chicago, right?
Just keeps surprising.
Not like we're trying to have too much sometimes.
God damn it.
I'm not in it. It's pretty good.
It's a good meme.
Good.
Perfect for the situation.
It's an old meme, so everybody checks out.
Mm-hmm.
Diana, her eyes get kind of like lazy for a minute, and she's just sitting there thinking, and she goes, "What the fuck are they planning? That doesn't make any sense."
I don't know, but she's looking to talk to me at some
I'm
point in
not
time
talking.
shortly.
Hold on. I'm thinking out loud, Roland. I
Oh, I
appreciate
apologize.
you telling me this information, but right now I need a moment. Because if the Red Alistair's in town, there's usually only a couple reasons why. Anybody you know end up dead yet?
Not yet.
No,
Any
not
of the
everybody important.
None of the important players are alive or dead?
Everybody important on our
Like dead,
coterie
I
line
guess.
is actionable and functional. And last round of primage and stuff, everybody who was supposed to be there was there.
All right. That's one thing. You can see that she's sitting there and she's really like the information that you've just given her has thrown her a little bit into an uncertainty that she is really working through. None of you have talked with her yet, right? None of you have met with the Red Alistair?
Nope.
No.
Not a one.
Nope.
What about you, Quiet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, you'd be aware. Okay. Okay. Witch masters. There's so many of them. They're like fucking cockroaches now.
The ginger.
Okay, that's better than the other one. The other one just fucking is so speedy, hard to pin down. And the new one, I don't think he knows shit from his ass. Have you worked with him yet? Do you know that he's gonna be a problem?
I can't say he won't be.
God.
He's bright. Like, well within still learning the basics.
I will stress, there's not a grace period. You know
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
Mm.
I am aware. If he does something, it is unfortunate within my office to do something about that.
Yeah, I don't care about what little shit happens in this town.
Right.
On a side note of that, though, how wise do you think it would be to go after a Masters in this town right now?
It would have to be something that would have had to have happened in order to go after a Masters.
Do you believe that the prince would let him break tradition?
No.
No,
No,
even among the people that she holds dear, she will openly not joke about how she might have to kill them if they do this wrong, which is very princely.
She kind of gives like a, all right. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. You've got my number. I want to know if you hear anything more about the Red Alistair. I also would like things that we've talked about in this room to stay within this room. If they don't, my list is very short. Are we understood?
We are.
I thank you for the hospitality that you provided me, Mr. Giovanni. Roland, Egret. Quiet. Thanks for all of
You'll
your information.
click the door open so she wishes.
She stands up as
Rise with her.
as she's walking out. She gets to the door and she stops, but she doesn't turn back. It is an Elysium, I will remind everybody, that's further away than Antonius. Using abilities is frowned upon. Antonius, she says in a voice that is perceptible to you, but even a little hard for you to hear. Don't let the two from my clan die or get caught up in anything. And you've got another ally on that.
He will stay very still for a moment and then only nod. Get out of her way of exiting the room.
She does. With little haste, or with much haste. The opposite of little haste.
Let's 3 seconds go by. Cluck, clack. Fuck.
Hey, about this time, there's a text from Mercy that says, let's talk in person about this.
As the text rolls in,
Roland looks at his phone, puts his phone away without responding.
Hey,
as
you're in an important meeting. It makes sense to her.
that's true. As the text rolls in, your phone vibrates. You look at it. You go, nope, not right now. You put your phone back away. Some other things
Look at.
happen.
Oh, Jesus.
The Let me quickly pull something up. One of the security guards, heads of security, or generals, I forget what we're calling them, knocks on the door after it's closed.
I'll open it and let Six handle this one because that's her person.
Sunny.
Yes, ma'am. Graceland had another issue.
Fuck.
Not as bad as last time,
Hmm?
but well, I think that you and Mr. Giovanni should probably check it out.
How long ago?
Best we can tell, last night, pretty recent.
How late is it right now?
A little after midnight. You could probably check on it.
Six is gonna look at Tony.
All right. Marty's gonna be pissed. I assume you two have something else to do tonight.
Unfortunately, with another Justicar trying to come and find me.
Well, you're in a safe room.
I was going to say an Elysium is not the worst option.
As always, you are welcome to stay here long as you need.
Well,
It's about as safe as you can get in a place that isn't named Nova.
I'd rather not meet her there.
Dude, it sucks we got a Justicar looking for us, because otherwise I want to hit something.
Well,
All this talking.
There's a lot of talking. All right. Guess we're going to Graceland. Make yourselves comfortable.
Tennessee?
No. Graceland isn't where we found Braggy.
Oh. Oh no.
You're welcome if you want, but if you want to make yourself available for important killer lady.
But I don't know when she's going to show up. So I'll might as well help if you need me.
I'll get my sword out of the car.
Good.
Oh god. Six, I know you prefer to drive.
She really wants to use that fucking sword.
Sunita looks at you, Six, and goes, puts her hand on her chest, goes, ma'am, and nods and goes back to what she was doing, leaving you and the other three to do what you need to do. And we are close to the end of tonight's game. But just to kind of have a little fun.
Oh yeah.
You all show up at Graceland. You meet with a couple of other members of security, not as high up. They were probably put there in the wake of the events of last season, just to kind of watch the place, you know.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my downtimes.
And they go, Mr. Giovanni, 6. Is that what you go by with them? 6. You haven't given them like another name, like.
Nope, just
Okay,
6.
just 6. Mr. Giovanni, 6. Thank you. I'm sorry to have to report this.
It's fine. What do we got?
Well, we don't know where it came from. We don't know why it showed up, and we don't remember anybody being here doing it. And we've been watching the place, like you've asked us to, for nights. It's in one of the smaller morgues. Here, and they lead you down to one of the smaller ones, and they open the door. They lead you inside. On the wall, written in how best to describe viscera?
Viscera. Sounds right.
Hmm.
A conglomeration of organ, bone, tissue, blood is do any of you speak like Romanian?
I have languages. Romanian is not one of them.
Google Translate has like a scanner function.
Yeah.
That is fair. What about Latin? Anybody got a little bit of Latin?
Got a little bit of Latin, but I'm not there.
Yeah, 6 does.
6 got a little bit of Latin.
I mean, she was raised Catholic, so yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of the Latin alphabet, and it's similar. It's like an odd mixing. You pick out parts of it that kind of you're like, that looks Latin, but it's not all the way Latin. It looks like some weird merger of in between, and you make out enough with your Google Translate feature and your knowledge of Latin to see that the word that is spelled is return. Spelled out in bone, viscera, gore.
Oh, that's concerning.
Is it safe to assume that it's human viscera?
One of the security guys says, no, we're not actually sure if it's human.
Can I move up to it and kind of like eyeball it and deduce? Is this just like if somebody like put like a whole bunch of effort into like modern art, or does this look like it would probably have been vicissitude?
It gives kind of an air of vicissitude, but actually, as you get closer to it, you get a little bit more information about it.
Hmm.
It's gory. It's gross. It's probably sticky, but it's dried at this point. So how is it staying up there so perfectly intact?
Hmm.
almost like they've been pushed into the stone of the wall. You see what looks to be like, don't know that I want to describe this on,
Give me. It's gonna be gross. Give me.
like if mice, if rats, if birds purposefully like jabbed over and over to etch out a spot where they could hook their broken bones in to stay hanging there.
Oh.
Interesting.
Well,
You know, I really wish if people had a message to send, they would be a little more clear. Like, seriously, what are we returning?
so
Broggy?
it's stupid fucking vampires, right? So we have something that is vaguely Latin, but some in between, so we can deduce that whoever wrote this wrote it because they were from a time where this weird blending of Latin and something else, which means we're dealing with some goddamn elder at worst, or a Methuselah, which would be fantastic for us. So the short version is it's fucking Dracula. Probably.
Because why not, right? Not like
And
we don't have...
and if I may, like, it just feels right. And to end the episode, Tony just kind of, and like I said, and just go like this, fucking Chicago.
Chicago!
It's always sunny credits. It feels right.
As
two Justice Cars and now Dracula.
as Tony, Roland, Ygritte, and Six are standing in a gored out little mausoleum in Graceland Cemetery, we have Mercy on the other side of town deciding what to do. Braggy nearby, sitting there at the bar, wondering why nobody wants to talk about beans. His phone dings,
Oh no.
No.
and it's just a message from a Mr. Stone that says, "What the fuck?" And that's where we're gonna end it.
I
Oh, oh, we're gonna have to kill Braggy. Great.
You might want to keep a real close eye on that sword. Just saying, someone might want it back.
Nope. Fuck her. My sword.
I agree.
Well, I mean, she's dead. No, technically not.
Yeah, but
Mostly dead. Sorry.
It's not all the way
mostly
dead.
dead, not all.
You think it'll work? It'll take a miracle.
Miracle.
So, seems like your
Fuck.
message went through, Braggy.
That is unfortunate for you.
Could be. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to play this one real close and carefully.
Real close and carefully.
That's
What's a
really
Justicar? Who's a Justicar?
Let's look at recent history. How have you done so far with that?
I love it. I really do.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I was secretly hoping that would happen, but I'm happy that it did.
There
Just
was
respond back, butt dial.
Which
See, I rolled a dice, and it came up that, so you didn't,
Great.
That's a what?
it's a shame.
Mm.
so are we done for the night?
Yes, we are.
I think we're just like, I think we
Yeah.
okay,
Okay,
so we're just done.
Yeah, cool.
You guys all seem a little shell shocked.
What?
No.
Fine.
All right, we could have two Justicars fighting in Chicago, because Chicago.
Chicago.
Hey, look, if they're fighting each other, they're not fucking with us, so, you know.
Oh, no, that's not what's going to happen.
No.
It's
I-
going to be
I will
worse.
I will point out, because both you and Tony did get the 4.
Mhm.
Actually, let me look.
checks notes.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
So you guys
think
both
anyone
got a
got 5.
4. You
Yeah.
saw essentially you saw that she was concerned at the news that there was another Justicar in town that she did not know about. That was news to her.
Mhm.
The other thing that you would have picked up in that brief moment, she did not look like as confident as she has been the entire time. She doesn't. You could probably tell that with it being the Justicar that it is, with the storied history that she has, Diana probably doesn't want to have to deal with it
Mhm.
in any
Oh,
negative way.
Yeah.
I'm aware, but I figured if they're both here and they're both kind of working against each other or in different ways, it makes it easier on us.
Well,
Potentially.
Was the Ventru Justicar in the city, or was it just
Yes.
like he is?
She is.
She is. That's the
She
one that
is.
was with
She-
Mercy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is she the one that Maggie was trying to summon?
No, that's an inner circle member that you guys have no real
That's-
inkling.
That's more stuff we don't know about. It's just there's a big ball of bullshit. We
Okay,
gotta
and I'm like, well,
unravel.
Like, wait a
Whoever
minute.
A is.
No, technically,
Don't forget.
I believe that there is a very loose idea in VTM lore of the couple of inner circle members. However, I don't believe that this ever been confirmed. They kind of always have left
Yep.
it to be open as a big
Mhm.
MacGuffin up in the sky that you can use. Which
Right.
I did because I had an idea for a story.
So, as far as big players go, we have A.
A.
We have the two, right?
Yeah.
Whoever she is being involved in things. We've got the Justicar of the Ventru clan, the Justicar of the Toreador clan. Whoever wrote Return on the Wall.
Dracula.
Dracula, right, Dracula.
Until we have a better name,
Yeah.
it's Dracula.
Sure.
So we've got 4 big bad evil
And
guys,
then-
and we only know for sure 2 of them.
And then the inner circle person.
The inner circle person, right? 5.
And let's we
And
not forget all of them probably
And then-
have minions.
And then the old king.
yeah, and Loden who
He's
came
still
back,
fucking kicking around, right? Shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't die, right? He just got chased
Uh-huh.
off.
And then the werewolves.
Mm,
Chicago,
hopefully we don't have to mess with them.
Guys, it's the 6th.
And then
Not
Wait.
again.
no,
Ygritte.
there's more.
Ygritte, I'm sorry. when they said werewolves and you said I hope we don't have to bother with them, Tog made a roll last game, like a while ago, that I just kept in my back pocket for some bullshit. It was a 1, I believe.
Oh.
There's
Yeah, it was a.
just
I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at anything at this point.
And then we still have the Sabbat to deal with.
Oh yeah, whoever's left of the original 7.
And whatever's rising out of the labyrinth.
Yep.
And there's all the other shit that the World of Darkness just
Well-
fucking has.
I'm talking specifically that's active in our city right now that we know about.
8, perhaps 10 total.
Oh, and then
Big
don't
esoteric
forget
threats.
Maggie. We have Maggie. to
Oh yeah,
deal
Maggie might be a problem too.
with.
Portia.
Oh yeah,
definitely an issue.
Portia. Fuck her. All right, yeah.
She's gonna be a problem for us.
the best part about all this is like for me, because this has all been building to this boiling point essentially, and it's just really interesting because I've had you guys make weird dice rolls in the past that seem to mean very little, and it has moved around parts of the story that you've interacted with at far different times. And there's still some fun things that are coming, I think. So we'll see.
Oh, we don't need more? We at least have 10 things we gotta fucking deal with.
Yeah, no, that's your count was all about right. Yeah.
Great.
Uh-huh.
How many
Lovely.
episodes are we expecting this season to be?
As long as it fucking takes this time.
couple. Not an
Ugh.
excessive amount. We will be finishing this year, I'm sure. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, oh darn, a lot of vampire.
Oh,
no.
no.
I know,
Oh, no.
Twist my arm.
Mm.
Am I finally going to get that elusive level 5 discipline ever? Speaking of which, remind us, how much XP do we get for this bullshit?
Oh, right. XP. Well, oh yeah, we're back into the full swing of
We're
things.
back
That
into
is a
it.
fair point. 2 XP, obviously, for a game. Thank you all for playing this evening. Additionally, we will be picking up in a night or two.
Okay.
So that means if you got a little downtime stuff you want to do, you can
Small
do that
downtime.
for an extra XP. So I look forward to hearing about and reading all of those. They don't have to be big. They don't have to be flashy.
I gotta determine whether or not I want to take somebody up on their offer to perform at a club.
That's a fair point.
Look, that wasn't an offer. That was a
Her
demand.
club.
I know. I
Capital
know.
H.
Yeah.
Just actually, I can I ask a point of clarification on that because I want to make sure I understood something correctly.
Yeah.
Did her club imply her succubus club, or is it like a different club that I do not know about that is actually just hers?
Fair.
No.
Her club was referring specifically to the
To
Succubus Club.
Succubus Club. Yeah.
Then it is what I thought.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's an Annabelle suite, huh?
No, Annabelle's in her suite.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
been keeping
That's fine.
her bed warm these past couple years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's
Very
lots going on.
concerning.
Hey, and I know 2 of you have know a little bit more than you're supposed to know. So zip it, zip it.
Well, no, I'm not
This
gonna say
is
shit.
only shit that has come up in this game.
I'm genuinely fucking terrified.
This bad.
Good.
It's bad and I don't like it.
I'm
It's
glad.
so bad.
It's gonna get worse with that.
Great.
It's-
No shit.
but in a way that you won't expect.
Great.
Thank goodness.
Mm.
No, as long as we
Not
don't have a traitor
anxious.
from the inside trying to work against everybody. I don't know who that could be.
I had a lot of fun tonight getting back into game. I will say, Braggy, I'm sorry that you don't get included a whole lot, but you're just a little baby and you don't got a lot to say, and I don't want you to feel left out. So I hope you did not.
Oh no,
No, you want to feel left out on this. You want to feel left out.
So we will return to next week. I think is good for everybody. If
Yes.
not, we adjust.
I'm back to normal now.
Yay.
Good.
I know.
will not be next week. I have my work is being annoying, and I will be extra annoyed and tired. So maybe a slightly shorter game. I don't know. I might feel up for it. I might need it, honestly. Next
So
week
that's
is
bad
not-
for us.
No, not per se. It might be good because I'll be a little less murdery.
You won't be angry at us.
Yeah, I'll be angry at the job. But the last season has begun. We are here.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
Ah!
And with all that loveliness, I don't know if we want to raid out to anybody or if we're just going to go to bed. Because I'm just going to go to bed. I'm tired. And I imagine
Fabulous.
a couple of you are as well. So I will transition us to our goodbye screen. And then I will stop the recording. So to all of you watching, goodbye. To all of my players, see you next week.
Next week.
Ah.